Hello and welcome to this supplemental video about fighting the fear associated with public speaking. The fear of public speaking is a very real phenomena in our culture. It's actually called glossophobia, which I used to think was just the fear of glossaries or glossy things, but apparently not. According to a study done by a researcher named Hamilton in 2008, 95% of the population experience some form of public speaking anxiety. This might range from minor nervousness to extreme terror. On surveys, some people even rate public speaking higher on a list of fears than death. This led Jerry Seinfeld to once joke, "To the average person, that means if they have to go to a funeral, they'd be better off in the casket than giving the eulogy. What's up with that?" While Jerry is making a joke, some people would probably agree with this. To better understand why this fear exists, we need to explore fear in general. So ask yourself, what are people afraid of? Things like spiders, or sharks, heights, planes, or snakes on planes. But the question has to be asked, why? Why do we have all of these fears in common? Well, the answer is simple: physical harm or potentially even death. Which brings us to defining fear. We actually Fear is actually a combination of nature and nurture. We learn what to be afraid of. That's the nurture part. You see, nobody is born afraid of anything. We don't know what to be afraid of until we learn it from our parents, our friends, our society. People raised in a household that have a lot of snakes or spiders as pets aren't afraid of snakes or spiders. They have never learned to hold that fear. So after the fear is learned, fear receptors kick in. That's the nature side of things. These fear receptors release adrenaline into our bloodstream. This enables us to run faster, be stronger, literally turns us into supermen and superwomen. Okay, not literally, but it does allow us to do things we normally wouldn't be able to do. And best of all, it's kept us alive for thousands of years. Allow me to explain. Our earliest ancestors used the fear response to survive. Here's a little story of two of the earliest human beings. Meet Wilma and Captain Caveman. They were dating back many thousands of years ago when they met a new creature. His name was Mr. Tiger. Mr. Tiger looked so friendly and cuddly, so Captain Caveman introduced himself and discovered that Mr. Tiger was hungry. Wilma saw all of this because, as a woman, she was naturally smarter than Captain Caveman, so the next time Wilma saw Mr. Tiger, she ran away. She eventually met this guy named Fred, and they lived happily ever after. The end. So that's where fear came from. It explains why we're afraid of things that can hurt us, like tigers and snakes and spiders and sharks and Samuel Jackson films. Okay, just kidding about that one. Those could never hurt anybody. But why are we afraid of public speaking? Well, to answer this, we really need to ask, what do we fear today? Because after all, we've conquered most of those things that can kill us. What do we have to really be afraid of now? Being alone. That's what we're afraid of now. In this world of social media and long lives, we don't want to be alone through it all. Which brings me to Patrick's theory of social death. That's me, Patrick. And this is just my theory. I contend that we try to avoid embarrassment, being laughed at, and being judged, and that in our minds, public speaking could lead to all three of these problems. So we bury our heads in the sand and avoid any public speaking whatsoever. Now that we know why we're afraid, overcoming this fear becomes so much easier. There are several weapons we can arm ourselves with. First is confidence. If fear is a supervillain, confidence is his arch nemesis. Being confident does a lot for us. Being confident, though, is easier said than done. The first step to confidence is to visualize positive results. We've got to think our way to a positive outcome. If we do, it's more likely to happen. To illustrate this, imagine there was a group of 20 people of basically equal intelligence. We split them in half and give them the same test. But for the first half, we tell them it's the easiest test ever, and they're sure to pass it with flying colors. The other half, we tell it's the hardest test they'll ever take, and we expect that they'll probably fail. Which group will score higher? Oh, the ones who were given positive reinforcement every time. It works, but it's not just positive thinking that gets it done. You also need preparation. you need to, in advance, have your speech preparation done. Waiting until the last minute will definitely hurt your confidence level and cause you to be more afraid. You also need to practice, practice, and practice some more, but not too much. The best at anything have one common thing in common. They practiced a lot. So do that. And now here's your secret weapon: smile. When you smile, you look confident. People will smile back at you. When they smile at you, you'll feel more confident. It's like this infinity loop of confidence. The opposite is also true. If you look nervous, people will be worried about you and look at you with a nervous look. This will make you feel less confident. So just write the word smile on your note card and then do that. Finally, know the following facts. Know that most nervousness is not visible. You may feel like you're shaking, you may feel like you're sweating, but most people can't see any of that. It's only noticeable by you. Everybody else is nervous when they get up there. Remember, 95% of the population feels something like this, so you're not alone. And finally, everybody is pulling for you. Everybody wants you to succeed. They're sending all of these positive vibes out to you, so soak them up. My final words to you are ones I've borrowed from Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who, in the face of the Great Depression, when people were literally killing themselves because of fear, said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." The rest of the quotation, usually gets left out, goes like this: nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. We can't turn back. We must go forward. The fear you feel is natural, but it's also all up in your brain. Now, I give you permission to let it go. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.